So in this video, I wanted to spend some time looking at 4 awesome highlighters. It seems like marker companies these days are really trying to differentiate themselves by bringing a lot of innovation to their highlighter products. And, you know, on this channel, we usually talk about pens and sometimes pencils, but there are some very cool highlighters hitting the market lately, and it seems like they're actually getting pretty popular. So I wanted to talk through 4 of them and compare them to kind of some everyday highlighters, and then make a recommendation about if you're looking for the single best highlighter of 2025, at least from an innovation standpoint, not maybe the best overall highlighter, but we will have you covered, and there should be some pretty interesting stuff here. So there's 4 highlighters I wanted to discuss for their innovation, and then just 2 standard ones we'll use for reference. Okay, first of all, let's talk about this one. This is the Pilot Il Mille, and you don't really have to worry so much about the color. The colors can be interesting, but it's not something I want to make a huge deal about since they all are offered in a really wide range of colors, and I haven't used every single color. So this is the Pilot Il Mille. This is in Emerald Mint. It's not two-sided. It's an Emerald Mint highlighter. They call it a color to color, but again, it's single-sided. What you have here is an eraser. It's part of the Pilot erasable series, and usually Pilot has the friction line, but they do have erasable in other lines. And this is an erasable highlighter, which is a pretty cool idea, not something I've heard of before. Next, we have this one. This is the Kikuyo Mark Plus. This is a 2-tone color marker. So not only is it 2-color, but it uses related colors that are sort of matched together in a nice way. This is gray and I don't know if that's teal or light blue or what, but they also have like gray and yellow, which I really like, and a few other combinations. The Mark Plus is a highlighter I've talked about before, and I really like this one. It has a really smart design about how those 2 writing tips use, and there is a little sort of like neck here where the ink goes through and keeps the 2 reservoirs separate. It's really well thought out. Now we have this one. This is the Pilot, I believe it's the Kirina, and this one has become like the really sought after highlighter. In fact, it's sold out almost everywhere, and you could only get your hands on what I would consider to be the less desirable colors, because this thing has made such a splash now. And I got this one in this sort of pale orange color. You could see this one has a flexible writing tip. So it has these plastic guides, so you can't push it too far, and it guides you on how you write it, so you can get some flex out of this without breaking it. And it tells you kind of just exactly how hard to push and stops you from pushing too far so you don't break the tip. It also lets the tip become nice and thin, which it offers some support for it. That way you don't have to worry about putting down too much ink. So very clever there. Has a great snap and has these sort of finger holes you could use to pull it open or to hold it when you're writing. This one is dual-sided, but not dual color. Here you have this sort of fine tip. So if you want to circle something or make an arrow or something like that, then you have a more of a pen-like tip there. Lastly, we have the Sakura Mix line, and this one is dual color and dual-sided, so we're really getting advanced here. On this side, we have the marker with a little underline tip, which is very clever. And on this side, we have just a little pen sort of underline tip. So really smart thinking. And again, like I said, not all of these are brand new and not all of them are sold out, but it just shows sort of the level of innovation going into the highlighter market. Let's see them in action now. Okay, we'll start off with a standard book. This is just a paperback book, and we'll look at this is a kind of standard dual color highlighter, and we'll look at, I want to use that orange side, and let's just do alternating lines. So quite nice. You're not going to miss that. Here we have a Sharpie. I would use this sort of as a very standard highlighter. Now we'll move over to the Pilot Illimilli in the Emerald Mint. Quite dark, probably I would say too dark for me. And let's try the erasing. Makes it lighter, but it doesn't fully erase it, at least not in a paperback. We'll try it on a different paper in a minute. Now we have the Mark Plus. This is a 2-color, so we'll use it first in the gray, which is very cool. I like a gray highlighter, but it's on the dark side. And now we have the teal, very similar to the Pilot. Now that Kirina in pale orange, and we'll be utilizing the guides here to make sure that we got a nice light line, and that is fantastic. Perfect amount of highlighting, not too much, not too little, and this tip just flexes with you, so you're getting exactly a nice light brush. Which this thing is flexing, but those pieces of plastic are stopping it from going too far. So really, that felt great, and really, really nice experience there. And now here's that marker side, just some underlining. You can see the marker goes on a little bit more heavily, and it is a little bit less consistent than the guided side. Lastly, we have the Sakura mix line. This one's a little bit tricky to use. It does require a little bit of practice because the underline tip is so fine. Let's see if I can get a good attempt. The red underline with the teal. You see the red is bleeding a little bit. It's not really a problem, but something to keep in mind. I will say that because this is a chisel tip, so it's sort of angled, it's hard to use it without the underline, which you're not going to get a full line here, you know what I mean? You're just going to get the tip, and if you go more down, you're going to get the underline. It's really hard to get the green without the red. Again, if you want to do that, you would just use a different highlighter. And now we'll test out that pen tip, or that little sort of marker tip. And this feels great. This is a very high quality red, more of a pen than a marker. It just works really nicely. I like that a lot. So let's look at the performance here. You have the original orange, the Sharpie, and then we'll get into our innovative ones. For me, they all work and they all do the job nicely. This orange is probably the one that pops the most for me. I wish I had a yellow, but I don't have one around. I finished it. And then as far as the sort of like quality of the highlighting goes, the Pilot in that pale orange, the Kirina, for me is far and away the best. I like this light color as well, but I don't want to judge it based on the color alone. A lot of it has to do with sort of how much ink you're putting down. Putting down too much ink is a very serious problem. So let's flip that over. And what do we see on the other side? And again, this piece is fully down against the other piece. The orange from this dual-sided Japanese highlighter clearly put down too much ink. The Sharpie and the pink is right here, ending in stomach. No problems there. And you can see a little bit of the green coming through, a little bit of the green over here and stuff, but really no problems there. So quite happy with the performance of those highlighters. Again, short of this one, which put down too much ink for me. Okay, so now we'll move from the written page to something I wrote out. This is just a sort of a high quality paper. It's this L writing paper from Life Co. And the ink I used is just this Uni Zento. It's pigmented, so it should hold up really nicely to the highlighters. And we'll just do a quick swipe and then a double swipe to a quick pass and then a double pass to see how the highlighter holds up. I flipped those two. That was a mistake. No problems so far with the standard stuff. Now let's move on to the innovative highlighters. Again, you can't do both of these. You have to pick which ones you're going to highlight. I will go with the green on the Mark Plus and do a double line here. Now the Il Milli, so let's just write down Mark Plus. Now the Il Milli, single, double. And now let's quickly, while that's drying, let's try to erase some of the single. Cause some smearing. Basically, the highlighter sort of like got the dried ink from the uni and kind of wet it enough that this was able to smear a little bit. I wrote this sheet over 10 minutes ago, so it was fully dry. And some smearing, and the highlighter did not fully go away. So the, let's see, Il Milli, this one, I could tell from writing it's putting out a little bit more ink than I would like. Let's go over to the mix line. Hard to do double pass on that since you're going to get the double underline, but you can go here. That one looks nice. Good color on that. Not too bright. Not too much ink goes through. Lastly, we have the Kiri Na. Save that one for the last. It's been my favorite so far. And here's all the results. Mark Plus did great. I really like the Mark Plus. I'm using that one a lot. Il Milli, too much ink goes down when it's new. It gets better over time, but too much when it's new. And the erasing, frankly, doesn't work great. This is the mix line. I guess it goes without saying. It has the line under it. It's a good highlighter. It's just that I don't know how often you're going to want to use the underlining. And unless you want to use it all the time, then it's not the right highlighter for you. And lastly, we have the Kiri Na, which for me is a really nice color. I like the pale orange, and the amount of ink it put down is really spot on. So of those super innovative highlighters, I would highly recommend the Mark Plus. I think these are great. I have a bunch of them, and it's been my main highlighter for, I don't know, a year or two now. I can't remember when I first got them. The mix line from Sakura, great idea. I don't love the underlining, just like based on how I read and how I highlight. It's not required, but super cool idea. The erasable Il Milli is cool concept, but as a flawed execution. And the Kiri Na is just a great highlighter, and just like all around, I would really recommend it. Just the right amount of ink. The pen or the body of it looks great. I like the marker side, although for me this one is a little bit too much of a brush tip. I actually prefer the writing side on the mix line, but the general highlighter in that skinny design with those guides and that sort of brush design works really great. So Pilot really nailed it here, and I would recommend people get these if they want a sort of a standard everyday highlighter. These ones right now for me are the best. Honestly, the Sharpies and the dual-sided type of highlighters are both fine. You know, you're gonna get sometimes like too much ink coming down and the colors aren't gonna be as cool, but they're not that bad. You're completely fine going with either one of these. If you want something, again, from that sort of highly innovative, high design world, I would recommend the Kiri Na. If you want two colors with a really great color combinations, then the Kokuyo Mark Plus is fantastic. And both of them are affordable, and the Mark Plus is very easy to find now. The Kiri Na, they will be easy to find probably in a couple months, but for now it's been largely sold out. And you know, once the sort of hype calms down, you'll be able to find these pretty easily. So that's it. Thanks for watching.